No, we told about getting up this morning at 3 o'clock. About doing all that work. Yes. Okay. So we set out for Cablevision, Bethpage. At what time was it? 8 o'clock. And there was some snow, you know.
Yeah.
First snowstorm of the season. And we got there at 9:30.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just 2 minutes later. 9:35 maybe.
And Franklin drove up to the door, and guess what? There's three 20-foot high, are they 20 feet high?
I'd say
Toy
20 or
soldiers?
25.
So I want you to know that that's Dolan's interpretation of Christmas. He hired 3 more security personnel. They are 20-foot toy soldiers, 3 of them, at the front door. And Franklin went in, and Glendora took Rusty in the 1993 Lincoln off of Cablevision property, took him across the street, parked the car on the street, took Rusty for a walk, and then picketed in front of Cablevision on Stewart Avenue, 1111 Stewart Avenue, Bethpage. Just a little bit down from Oyster Bay Road. And the picket sign said, Dolan's cheat. And the picket sign on the back said, fire former. Make him a former. And Glendora said goodbye to Rusty and went across the street and went down the driveway and past the 3 20-foot soldiers and into the building. So let's listen to what happened. Okay, so Franklin goes in the door, and Franklin's going to tell you what happened. So you came in the door, and what happened? Before you came in the door, and what happened? So you went into the door this morning, and what happened?
You told me to sit down.
Who is he?
You told me to sit down. So I did. You went out. Charles Forma came, said that didn't have any cameras or recorders at the meeting. That asked to sign a statement that she didn't have a recorder and that I couldn't attend the meeting because I'm not a stockholder and nobody but stockholders attend. They've accommodated me, but they can't do that anymore. And he said that nobody not a stockholder has ever attended an annual meeting. I was the only one.
That's another lie. I know that Carl Ancesara and Harvey Cash attended a shareholders meeting. And I know Harvey Cash is not a stockholder. And I don't think at the time Carl Ancesara was. And newspapers reporters are not stockholders.
He said that every copier in the box couldn't go into the meeting. They'd have to be taken out of the building. And that was about it. He was going around, but nobody talked to me anymore. And then I just sat there and finally you came in and he told you what he had already told me.
What a dull report. Now here is Charles Foreman talking to Franklin. Charles Foreman flits. And he flits.
Hello, Charles. How are you? Fine.
Of course, this will have to go back into the car. As I
This can go back into the car. He meant the copy machine. And the box, the file box. He has no right to say my file box goes back in the car, nor the copy machine.
we will not allow recording of the meeting. And the last meeting was recorded. And we're going to ask Glendora to sign a notarized statement acknowledging that she will not be taping the meeting, and she will not be carrying or wearing a tape recorder. And if she refuses to sign the statement, she will not be allowed to attend the meeting. As a non-shareholder, you're not going to be allowed to attend this meeting, right? I mean, we've accommodated you in the past, but you're not a shareholder. So we're going to ask you to stay up here.
Yeah, I've always attended them.
I'm sorry.
I've always attended the meetings.
I know, but we've say he's been accommodating you in the past, and I think that posture that Glendora has been taking lately, we're basically going to enforce our rules very strictly going forward.
And then there aren't any other non...
What did he say? What did he say?
Accommodated you in the past, but you're not a sheriff. So we're going to ask you to stay up here.
I've always attended them.
I'm sorry.
I've always attended the meetings.
I know, but we've basically been accommodating you in the past, and I think that posture that Glendora has been taking lately, we're basically going to enforce our rules very strictly.
What did he say?
Forward.
And then...
Charles Former foots around and pirouettes and like a little girl. You see, what does this all tell you? That Cablevision is doing something wrong. That they are cheating. That they are breaking laws. They don't want you, the public, to know about it. They don't want you, the subscribers, to know how dirty they are. Now, why didn't they want Franklin to go to the shareholders meeting? When Franklin has always gone to shareholders meeting as a family member. Any shareholder can take a family member to the meeting. Gannett, Texaco, Cablevision always before. So you see what they're up to? They don't want Franklin to witness. And tell you how bad and how dirty the Dolans are. Dirty Dolans. They are cheating so much that they don't know where to turn anymore. And so they just get more and more Gestapo. I've known for a long time that the Dolans are crooked, but I had no idea that they were this crooked. That the crookedness went that deep. Glendora just came in and she went over to the table and signed up as a shareholder. And two girls at the table protested and said something about you can't sign up until you see Charles Foreman. And Franklin was apparently saying the same thing. Now, folks, I asked to see if they could show me a chat with Glendora, if they could turn on Channel 71 cable TV. But you want to know something? You can't get cable TV at Cablevision. I wanted to see a chat with Glendora, which was running from 9:30 to 11:30. And I asked them that they control the pictures behind the desk, where they have a big display of pictures. And they told me, no, they can't. That's locked. I said, well, don't you have a set somewhere where I can go and turn it on and see Channel 71 and see a chat with Glendora? Oh, no. So,
All right. Okay, good. I want a copy of it. I'll take it to court. Anyway, I signed you in.
so anyway, you cannot see cable TV at Cablevision. I found that out. They don't carry cable TV at Cablevision. So I didn't get to see the programs. Okay, this is stupid Charles Former. And he's talking about we have rules that you can't audio tape or videotape. So you see, folks, that's good, because that tells you that the Dolans are cheating America, and they don't want you to find out about it. So this is good. This is another round that we've won. So you hear Charles Former now talking to Glendora. What do you think of the Dolans, huh? We do not allow family members. Every other corporation, every other annual meeting I go to allows family members. What do you think of the Dolans? Nice people, are they? Mm-hmm. Glendora says, the conduct has nothing to do with it. It's a matter of law. You have to have law, and you don't have any law. So, Forma hands Glendora a paper to sign, and it's not legal print, and Glendora can't read it. Nobody can be more ignorant of the law than Charles Forman. Remember when I said that I want to see the books, I want to see the minutes under the New York law, make copies, and have my agent make copies. That would be Franklin. And you remember what Forman said? Oh, well, we're not a New York corporation. We are a Delaware corporation. And the law that I was quoting him was a New York law for such Delaware corporations, which are called foreign corporations. Nobody could be more ignorant of the law than Charles Dolan, and than Charles Forman. Doesn't he act like a sissy? He acts like a little girl. So Glendora signs it under protest. She says, I want a copy of this. So let me show you what I signed. Here it is, folks. This is what I signed. It is so silly. Franklin, do you want to read it to the people?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Here's the microphone.
State of New York, County of Nassau. The undersigned swears under penalty of perjury that he or she will comply with the rules and regulations promulgated by Cablevision regarding the conduct of its shareholder meetings. In furtherance thereof, the undersigned warrants and represent that he, she will not employ, use, conceal, nor carry any audio, video, digital, or other recording device, nor has he or she instructed anyone on his or her behalf to record the meeting of shareholders at Cablevision to be held today, December 8th, 2000. Glendora. Sworn to before me this 8th day of December.
See, that's what you call incest. Okay? That's what you call incest. And everything Cablevision does is incestuous. And so I made a few objections, as you can see, that violation of civil rights and no copy of rules provided. And it's 12/8/2000, Anno Domini, 9:58 a.m. And you can see it's under protest. Not voluntary. So that's unconscionable, and it would not stand up in court. He did not provide any rules, right?
Right.
There are no copy of any rules. Aren't they silly?
Yeah.
They have been caught cheating, you see, folks. They have been caught. And they're cornered. And they're desperate. And they're frenetic. And this is why they are going through all these acrobatics. They just don't know where to turn anymore. This is former still squawking. I don't have the recorder on me.
Nor has she instructed anyone on his or her behalf to record the meeting of shareholders of Cablevision held today, December 8th, 2000. No, Franklin will not come. Do you want me to sign that? Give it to me. Give it to me. You may sign that. No copy of rules. There are no rules other than no copy of audio, video, or no copy of rules provided. 12/8/2000, Anno Domini. 9:58 a.m. Now, if Franklin came to all of the other meetings, why didn't he come to this meeting? We've accommodated him in the past. However, because of your conduct, we are not doing it any further. I would just like you to confirm that. Now, do you swear that the session is you? No,
This is former still laying his egg.
Yes, in order for me to properly notarize this signature, I want you to swear that the information is correct. You are not being allowed to bring that to the meeting. Of course not. I also want to know. You are not bringing that to the meeting. You are not bringing this to the meeting. Of course I'm bringing it. No, you are not.
And now former will not let me take my notes to the annual meeting. How do you like that? Are these people censors? Are they violators of the Constitution? Are they American? And former said, come into a back room, and I'll talk to you about this. I said, I will not. Anyway, I want to go to the annual meeting, and here it is, 2 minutes to 10, 3 minutes to 10, 4 minutes to 10, 10 o'clock, a little after 10. And I said, I don't want to be late for the meeting. I'm here for the meeting. It's not an annual meeting, it's just a shareholders meeting. This is going to make good stuff for the New York Times.
Why don't you get another soldier out there, Mr. Toy Soldier yourself? Why don't you get another out there? You never learned that this is America. This is the United States of America. I'll keep the thing. Okay, now you're going to be sued. Now, are you swear that the I will accept that notarization.
Their backs are to the wall. They're making fools of themselves. They're violating everything American. This is the kind of people that the Dolans are. Do you like them?
This is great. We just won another round.
There's no doubt about it. We have just won another round. Now, my point was, wouldn't you know that for Christmas they would put up 3 soldiers? Mm-hmm. They would hire 3 more insecurity people. That's what they did. 3 new insecurity hires. 3 great big 20-foot wooden soldiers outside. That's what the spirit of Christmas is to the Dolans. Soldiers.
Bob?
You understand what happened, folks, right? Censorship all the way through. The copy machine, no copy machine. No audio tape recorder, no videotape recorder. Censorship, censorship, censorship. And you can't even take your file box to the shareholders meeting. So off Glendora goes to the meeting with about 20 insecurity people following her. And into the auditorium. And the auditorium door is locked. A woman is saying, "Do you have a shareholder's pass?" I had gone over to the table and got a shareholder's pass, and I was number 5. Isn't that great? Well, you see, the shareholders don't know about this meeting because the Dolans have violated the law and have not informed shareholders of the shareholders meeting. So we got them on another round. And downstairs is a woman posted, and she says, "Do you have a badge?" And I said, "Yes," and she sees it. And then I go over to go into the door, and the door's locked. So I tell the woman, I think it's more important to know what door is open than it is whether you have a badge or not. And I went in to the auditorium, and I went over to Chase Mellon, and I asked to see the shareholders list. And I looked at it, and it is the old shareholders list, way back to September 30th. And here this is December 8th. They can't even give you an up-to-date shareholders list. And I asked Chase Mellon people there for a business card. They didn't have a business card. You see, they're afraid to give a business card because I used their business card when I sued them. And so it's pretty rinky-dink, folks, that Chase Mellon Shareholder Services, that their people don't have business cards. They're poor. And so Charles Former goes like Henny Penny the hen down the stairs, the aisle of the theater, and he says, "All right, Mr. Dolan, you can start your meeting now." And Glendora was behind him. So Glendora sat down in the front row, and another security goon started to reach over and says, "No, no, you can't sit there." And then another security goon came down and told that goon, No, let her do it. Did you ever see such a mixed up, unprofessional, amateur bunch of idiots calling themselves a public corporation when they're a family business? There's Franklin up there in a lobby, separated from his wife. And what God has joined asunder, let no man, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. But Dolan does that too. He separates a man and his wife. And so Dolan starts out the meeting, and he does the same railroading as he did before. He calls the meeting to order, and he says that the meeting is to be adjourned until January 5th. And he says right away, reading a script, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting to January 5th. And Glendora says, but there's no discussion. You have a motion and there's no discussion. And so Stooge, or Robert Astorita, stands up and says he's a Class A common shareholder, and he's reading a script, you know, folks. Did you ever see anybody so unprofessional as these people? So amateurish? And he makes a motion to adjourn the meeting to January 5th. And then next is Stooge Charles Former. It's always the same people who do the seconding. And he makes a motion to he seconds it. And Glendora says, where is the discussion? And Former says, the polls are open. Dolan says, Charles F. Dolan says, the polls are open. Does anybody want a ballot? And I said I wanted a ballot. And Abigail Montgomery brought me down a ballot, and I filled it out, and then I voted that I was against it. And then Dolan said something about proxy statements, about proxies. And I said, wait a second, do you have to have a proxy for this meeting? I submitted my proxy for the November 10th meeting. Do I have to have another one for this meeting? And Selhouse, who was sitting right in front of me, stupid as usual, said, yes. But so I didn't have a proxy on that basis. Later, she did a volte-face on that and said that you didn't have. Amateurs, 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 making believe that they are a public corporation when they're nothing but a family business. And so Selhouse comes down to the lectern. Charles A. Dolan steps aside, and I don't know what they're doing that for. What are they doing that for? What's going on there? And then the two of them giggle about something that nobody else knows about. A little private giggle. And then Selhouse says, it is enough to take your breath away. And then Selhouse says, the polls are closed, and we have enough votes to carry it. Where were the votes tabulated? Here in Florida, we're spending weeks and weeks all day long counting votes. How did they get the vote count that fast? Did you ever see any worse railroading in your life? Did you ever see any worse monopolism and monopoly and Gestapoism and imperialism, I guess, is the best word. Imperialism. So these are the Dolan cheaters. And these are the people who are going to ask you to increase your subscriber rates so they can have more money, so they can pull some more chicanery, such as you have witnessed today. So Glendora said all the way through, no discussion, no discussion. And I said, and I want to know why. Why was the meeting adjourned from December 8th to January 5th? And why was the November 10th meeting adjourned? And Charles F. Dolan said to me, well, I think that we explained that in the press release for offers. There might be other offers. And Glendora said, a press release is not a notice to shareholders. And you want to know how many people were in that big auditorium? I don't think there were more than 5 or 10, and they were all insecurity guards. They were all insecurity hires. They were all little toy soldiers. I think I might have been the only stockholder there, and they were holding the meeting until I did get there. They weren't going to start the meeting until Glendora got there. And that foolish prima donna, Charles Foreman, acting like Henny Penny. A piece of it fell on my tail. So it was all over in like 4 or 5 minutes. Isn't that unbelievable railroading? And now you can see why they didn't want it recorded. You can see why they made a spectacle of themselves and they didn't want the public to know it. And they didn't want you, the subscribers, to know it. But they made fools of themselves. And then Charles Dolan came up the stairs behind me, and they were sounding out statements like, now escort Glendora to the elevator and upstairs in their Gestapo, Nazi, KBG, little empire that they think they own. And Sal House was in the elevator, and Glendora was making notes like crazy, and making them out loud too. That Sal House said that you didn't have to have a proxy, or that you did have to have a proxy for this meeting, and then saying that you didn't have to have it. And so, that's twice that Dolan has faltered. That's twice that a meeting has been called and been adjourned. Now the next one is January 5th. And I asked to see the shareholders list, and you're supposed to have the shareholders list available at any shareholders meeting. So they broke New York law and Delaware law. And but Dolan doesn't have to worry about breaking laws, you see. Charles F. Dolan is above the law, because when Glendora takes him to court because he's broken the law, all Charles Dolan does is hand out money to the judge, to the political party, and then he gets out of court that way. He did that with Charles L. Bryant. He did it with John P. de Blasio, and he did it with Carol E. Jackson. He buys judges left and right. It's the kind of uselessness of the courts that you are seeing now down in Florida. We all know that the Republican judges are going to rule in favor of the Republicans. We all know that. So, you want to know something, folks? That meeting was over in the time it took me just to tell you about it. And so I'm back upstairs, and I'm sitting down with Franklin, and this is what is being said. See, the Dolan law breaking has piled up all the work. I can't find the papers. They're all over the place. Okay, this is what was said to Franklin. Okay, this is Sissy Forma talking. Glendora says, not the law. Show me the law. Former said, you have to see the case law. And I've showed him the case law, and on the case law, I win on everything on the case law. So he has no grounds there, and he has no proof there, and he's not producing anything. Glendora says that case law, there is no such thing as case law. It's just more bad decisions by bad judges. State of New York made no such law, and Congress made no such law, and Delaware made no such law. Why are they afraid to show a shareholder the shareholders list? What are they doing so wrong? What are they doing so criminal? Why are they afraid to have the meetings, shareholder meetings, taped? What do they want to keep from you, the subscribers, and from you, other shareholders, and from you, the public? What are they covering up? What have they done that's so bad? That was asked to Rita. I want you to know, folks, that this is with demand number 70. Demand number 60, no, this is demand number 71. Demand number 70, Franklin made on Tuesday, December 5th at Bethpage. And demand number 70 was a no. This is demand number 71, a no. This is how many times they have broken the law. Cablevision, Charles Dolan, James Dolan, Robert Lemley, William Bell, all of the rest of those people. This is how many times they have broken the law. Now this is interesting. I want you to hear this. This was asked to read. I'm going to play it for you again. Bob Astorita, a former New York City cop. He acts just like Bruiser Ken. Robert Astorita says, this is my building. He's nothing but an insecurity goon. And this is my building. Well, I'll have you know, Robert Astorita, it's the shareholders' building. It's the shareholders who own the building. This is Cablevision, and this is how Cablevision talks to people. Glendora has asked to see the shareholders list at corporate headquarters at 1111 Stewart Avenue. And they know that they are wrong, and they know that they are breaking the law, and they know that I have them cornered. And I keep asking to see the shareholders list. And so they try to get out of it this way. Now this is Astor Rita, who is vice president of, is nothing but insecurity. It's not security, okay? They're just Gestapos. They're former former Manhattan cops, New York cops. And so this is, Astor Rita comes over, and this is what he says. Can you get that? This guy is just a flunky, and he says, in my building, people do what I say. Well, he doesn't own the building, okay? The shareholders own the building. Who is this? This is Robert Astor Rita, okay? A blowhard, a puffery, a braggart, and this is all rhetoric. He doesn't own the building. The recording is not clear because I'm not wearing the recorder. It's not on me. So I had to laugh at that, and he says, in my building, that's bad enough, but people do what I say. And this is the arrogance and the ignorance that go hand in hand with Cablevision ever since 1993, ever since I've known them. This is what they are. And I'm glad that we have a copy of it so you can see it. And I'm glad you're getting this report. Okay, there's three great big 20-foot wooden toy soldiers out at the front. This is how the donors choose to celebrate Christmas, with soldiers. Peace on earth is being celebrated with soldiers. And we have a toy soldier over there named Scotland, we have a toy soldier over there named Ryan, and we have a big fat toy soldier over there named Lavalier. Okay, this is how the donors choose to celebrate Christmas, peace on earth, goodwill toward man. My statutory right is being violated. Glendora says, what difference does it make whether you want it to be or not don't want it to be? It doesn't make any difference at all. And Astor Rita, who admitted only 3 or 4 days to me that he was ignorant of the law, and he was not a lawyer, and he didn't know the law. And so he says this is a New York State law, but he's been given bad advice by some bad lawyer. New York State law is that any conversation can be recorded as long as one person knows it's being recorded. If I know it's being recorded, that's enough. Any conversation can be recorded as long as one person knows it is being recorded. That is New York State law. So Glendora told Astor Rita, who doesn't know what he's talking about, to produce his law. And Astor Rita can, and so Astor Rita gets angry. Typical cop reaction. Now he knows he's lost the argument. He knows he's wrong. So he says, listen, Glendora, I don't want to lower myself. Charles Former doesn't qualify as an attorney by any stretch of the imagination. So, Astor Reader is Gestapo, saying you have no further business here, and Glendora says, well, I certainly do. I'm a shareholder, and I'm here to see the shareholders list. Astor Reader, big boss, says if Franklin and Glendora are not out of the building in 5 minutes, call the cops. I asked to see the shareholders list. The answer is call the cops. This is what Cablevision is. At Christmas time, this is what Charles Dolan and James Dolan are. So Glendora says it's a great idea to call the police. I want them to arrest you, Robert Astor Reader, you, Paul Ryan, you, Tony LaValla, for not showing me the shareholders list and breaking a New York state law. Now, Astor Reader trails off. And Glendora wants to still ask him a question. Glendora wants to see a chat with Glendora on Channel 71 Public Access. But Astor Reader knows that he's lost, and he doesn't have the fortitude to turn around and face it. So he keeps walking, when clearly he is hearing me call him. And so I said to Paul Ryan, is there some place where I can go and watch Channel 71, a chat with Glendora? It's on right now. And what does Ryan say? No! You want to know something, folks? You can't get cable TV at Cablevision. Cablevision doesn't have cable TV. Glendora says to Franklin, we have won so many chapters today. We have shown the world exactly what these people are. We have shown them for what they are. So while they have all going away with their tails between their legs, because they have broken a law, and they know fully well they've broken a law, and they know fully well they're going to be sued for that. Everything's quiet. And then after they've all gone except one toy soldier, that would be Paul Ryan, Glendora says to Franklin, of September 30th. Now that's very old. Now this is Gestapo Paul Ryan coming over. Are you going to leave the building? Are you refusing to leave the building? And Glendora won't even acknowledge him. Okay? Glendora's there on shareholder business to see the shareholders list, and she's staying there until she sees it. Dolan, Charles F. Dolan, at the meeting said that the inspectors of election were Sylvan Crawford and Frank Les, and he never, his diction is not good, and he doesn't project, so you don't know what he said. But that's the way he wants it, you know. More cover up is better. Everything that you can cover up. Don't let him know what we're doing. Don't let him see what we're doing. These are the people from Chase Mellon Shareholder Services who are so rinky-dink they don't have business cards. This is Paul Ryan. So you see, Paul Ryan went away, because I'm not going to answer that question.
And then I started to sit down in the sun, and then the second row, and another toy soldier that I don't know started to move me. So he said, no, that's okay.
That made Franklin laugh. When I went into the shareholders meeting and Charles Foreman says, all right, Mr. Dolan, you can start your meeting now, meaning that Glendora was here. Can you believe it? They wouldn't start the meeting. They were holding up, there were only 5 or 6 people there. The rest were all toy soldiers. So Charles Foreman said, Mr. Dolan, you can start your meeting now. And so I sat down in front on the aisle, and one toy soldier then, whom I never met, started to move me. And another toy soldier came down the stairs, no, leave her there. Crazy people.
Altogether, 16 people, not counting the toy soldiers. There were, in the auditorium, there were about 10 people. And then the crowd needed to order some coffee. And then he said, you can entertain a motion. And I said, no discussion. And then he got a second. Guess who did the seconding?
Who did the seconding? Foreman. All the little toy soldiers.
Made the motion. After Rita, toy soldier. South House said the polls are open. Okay, and I said discussion. No discussion. Polls are adjourned. And, I don't know, discussion was, under inaction without legal strike.
That's big fat Tony LaSalle, who was about as most Gestapo of them all of them. And he's come and then he's telling us to leave now. And I keep talking to Franklin. I'll play that back for you. Are you leaving now?
Discussion was, under inaction without legal strike.
Typically LaSalle. By your inaction, you are not leaving. Toy soldiers.
No discussion. And then she said, it has been carried. Okay? It has been carried.
This is Cell House who said that. And the polls are closed.
I said, no discussion. Why is the meeting adjourned? Why? He said,
Charles Dolan called for proxies, and there weren't any proxies. The proxies were for the November 10th meeting, which was adjourned, which was canceled. And so he was asking for proxies for this meeting. And I'd never had a proxy for this meeting, December 8th. And so I wanted that clarified. And Sal House said that you had to have a proxy for this meeting too. Minutes later, she reversed herself. She's always wrong. And she reversed herself and did a volte-face. No, I didn't have to have a proxy for this meeting. I asked Dolan, I wanted to know why was the November 10th meeting canceled? Why was this meeting canceled? And Dolan says, well, as we said in our press release, and I don't think they did, he said, we may have other offers. And I said to Dolan that a press release is not a notice to shareholders. Yeah, what offers? What offers, folks? Don't we have a right to know? About 10:09 a.m. And it was held all up by a former forcing me to sign a paper that I could not read, in a paper for which he did not produce any rules. No motion to adjourn, no second to a motion to adjourn, and no vote to adjourn. It's all railroaded by Charles F. Dolan. These notes are all written on the back of the Delaware law, which Cablevision just ignores. Yeah, did you know that? Did you know that Cablevision is above the law? Did you know that? Did you know that Cablevision owns you? Yes. Cablevision owns you. They own on Long Island. They own Newsday. They own the New York Law Journal. They own everybody on Long Island. They are the kings of Long Island. And you are their subjects. Charles Dolan would not let me take my file box. Those are my files. So the picture is now. I had no chance, I'm saying to Franklin. This is my shareholder certificate. I wanted to show it to Dolan and ask him, is anything here going to change? If this rainbow, this wicked rainbow tracking stock goes through. And then through all of their harassment of the shareholder, I did not have a chance to hand in my objections to the rainbow tracking stock. I had a copy for myself and a copy for Charles F. Dolan, and they kept me from handing that in. And the name of it is, I hate, loathe, despise, abhor, and detest the rainbow tracking stock proposal. And as we left the theater, coming up the stairs, the aisle is like that, it's like a pit, I'll say, a snake pit. And coming up the stairs, behind me was Charles Dolan, and I did not speak to him. Last time, I shook his hand and wished him well, but this time, no. Now we know where it's coming from. It's coming from Charles F. Dolan. For years, I've given that man the benefit of the doubt and counted him as a friend. I no longer want him as a friend. Okay, continue my, all at the time we're waiting, the fakers are going to call the police. I asked to see the shareholders list, and their answer is to call the police. How's that? Is that America? Is that America? Is that Christmas? I'm not wearing a recorder, so it isn't very plain what's being said. Homeowner notarized his own paper. That's more Cablevision incest. So Franklin and I discussed what happened. Franklin was wrongfully kept from the meeting. What God has joined asunder, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So Franklin, the report is all over to Franklin, and I'm not going to get the shareholders list, so we get up to leave. So that's number 71 demand that is violated. Glendora says to Franklin, "Are you ready to go?" And so we get up to go to leave. And just as we do, guess what comes in through the door? A Nassau County police sergeant in a cruiser. So Franklin packs up, and I take my file box out and I put it on the post next to the 20-foot wooden toy soldier. They're all wooden. They're all wooden. And I come back and I get my copy machine. "You ready to go?" Glendora says to Franklin. And I help Franklin put his scarf on and button his coat and get his gloves on. And the static electricity makes his pants wrinkle. So I pulled the pant leg down to the shoe. And we went out the door. And Franklin stood by the post, guarding the file box and guarding the copy machine with the 3 wooden toy soldiers 20 feet tall, in the spirit of Christmas, peace and goodwill. So all the time, Gestapo Ryan, Paul Ryan, is watching us, and the cop is watching us. I asked to see the shareholder list, and the answer is, call the police. Now, call the police is a good idea, because they all should have been arrested for violating a New York state law, and they all should be fined and put in jail. So Franklin stays there with the file box and the copy machine. I cut across the lawn. No geese. And I go to the car, and I get the automobile, and I drive it up. And by then, there's 2 cruisers. You see, Nassau County has money to throw away, right? They aren't there out protecting you against serious crime. They're out there fooling around with the people who have the money, the donors. So silly. Oh, they showed exactly what they are. Sorry about that. That's the 11th day of this congestion. So the two cruisers were a traffic hazard, a vehicle hazard on the curve. You could hardly get by them, so they could park the car, get the copy machine into it, and get the file box into the back seat, take care of Rusty. And so we went out of their property and across Stewart and parked on the service road, the service street, on public property. And there I videotaped the two cruise cars, and I videotaped the new hirees are the 3 toy wooden soldiers 20 feet tall outside the door, celebrating Christmas, peace, and goodwill. We celebrate that with soldiers. That's the Dolan mindset. Glendora's walking toward the car to get the car. The congestion in the throat appeared every 15 minutes practically for about 7 days. This is going across Stewart Avenue. That's the terror of that street. These are the chimes of the Lincoln. Franklin getting in first, getting the file box in. Getting in the copy machine, which terrorizes them. A recorder, a camera, or a copy machine terrorizes them because they know they're doing wrong and they know they're getting caught. Lenny talking to Rusty. So we got all three into the car, Franklin, the file box, and the copy machine, and we drove around, as I say, on the side street, facing Cablevision, so we could see the whole thing. We videotaped the cruisers, and we videotaped the toy soldiers. And we videotaped Glendora's picket signs. Dolan cheats, or Dolan's cheat. Dolan's cheat. Fire former. So we got all three into the car, Franklin, the file box, and the copy machine, and we drove around, as I say, on the side street facing Cablevision so we could see the whole thing. We videotaped the cruisers, and we videotaped the toy soldiers. And we videotaped Glendora's picket signs. Dolan cheats. Or Dolan's cheat. Dolan's cheat. Fire former. So the two cops and Ryan did nothing. They had no cause to be there. It was Nassau County taxpayer waste at a time when Nassau County was about to be taken over by the state for bankruptcy. And these things happen because the Dolans are getting the property at Bethpage for $33 million a year, no taxes. Maybe it's $30 million a year, no taxes. See, they're too rich to pay taxes. So I did. Tuesday, December 5th, before this Friday, December 8th that you've just heard, Charles Dolan tried to just get Franklin to discourage Glendora from coming all the way to Westchester to go to the meeting because it was going to be just the same as the November 10th meeting. But you don't think that Glendora was going to let that go by? No, no way. Glendora had to see it. Thence, we went to Woodbury to see the public file. December 5th, Tuesday, there was infraction, federal infraction. Kathleen refused to show Franklin the public file. A public file, by federal mandate, has to be available to the public from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It doesn't matter whether Jeff Clark is there or not, or who is there. The public file has to be available. That is a federal mandate, and this was a federal infraction. So, V was her usual cheerful self, and very, very helpful. And before you could blink an eye, here was the public file down in a conference room. And we were very comfortable from 11 o'clock until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we finished the first drawer. How do we know? We don't see the public file. It's brought down to us in pieces. We don't see the public file. And I think that's wrong, too. But we did see the equal employment opportunity. How many people were hired, how many people were working there, how many of them were minorities, and and what percentage, and how many of them were women. And it was interesting to notice that 2 people were let go because they were security risks. In other words, they knew things. They'd seen things. Why do people have to be like that? Why can't they be honest and moral and ethical? Why do they have to cheat and steal and lie and cover up? Why? Is that the only way you can make money? Is to steal and cheat and lie and cover up? You can't make money honorably? And so it was a very successful visit of the public file. And apparently we have drawer number 2 to go, which was as long as drawer number 1, and another half drawer. But this is only for Cablevision, the Long Island system. It's not for all the others, and it's not for corporate. So that was about our 12th or 14th visit. People were very pleasant and gave us food to eat. And poor Rusty, something about the cold weather. I went out in the car and he was shivering. And I left him my great big coat. And he, instead of sleeping on it, he was sleeping on the seat, which is not warm. It's not the 1980. The 1980 is warm. The 1993 is not like that. Well, I fixed him up anyhow. And I had taken his lunch. I had packed his lunch. It's easy to pack his lunch. You take a bag and you put in his dish and you put in a can opener and you pull in a fork and you put in napkins and you put in his dinner. And you give it to him. So he ate that with. And I watched public access while I was doing the public file. That was fun. But I missed the Chat with Glendoras that were on. The 4 programs, the Chat with Glendora that were on. I missed them all. Bob Clement came down. Bob Clement, he's very good looking. I think he's very good looking. And he brought me down 12 specials that had been cable cast. And there are only 7 specials left. And Friday's a hard day for them, I guess, because they have to plan Saturday and Sunday so they can loaf, you see. That's the way America is, right? You have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard on Friday so you can loaf Saturday and Sunday. I never get to loaf. I would like to loaf. So we left, and Barbara Goldberg was there, and she brought out the copy machine to the car, and she was on her way to work. V wasn't there, but V is from Seattle. I asked her if she knew Mark Shukin, that he is now in Seattle. And then we went to Queens. And at Queens I talked to Karen and told Karen she has 2 dogs. And I told her about Rusty, how he was gone. And then he didn't come back when he was supposed to. And he left at 6 o'clock and he was supposed to be back by 6:30 and he wasn't. And 8:30 we had to go. And when I came home that night, there was a telephone call from Lee Miles Transmission at the corner of Boston Road and Columbus Avenue in the Bronx. And he was there. And he had gone 2.7 miles. And Karen thought that was amazing. She says, but it happens, it happens, it happens. And Rusty loves to go walking on a Queen Street way up behind Casino Boulevard where there's houses and a little bit of grass on the tree belt and trees and a fire hydrant. He's just fascinated by that. And then we came back to Westchester and home. And I started videotaping this for you, this report. Now, I have some questions that I wanted to ask Charles Dolan, and these are very important questions. But Charles Dolan doesn't want to answer any questions. I wanted to say, why no taping? I wanted to ask him, why was the November 10th meeting canceled? Well, he sort of answered that, and he said we were waiting we might have other offers. And why was the December 8th meeting canceled? For the same reason that the November 10th meeting was canceled. Why didn't he get his act together and have the meeting and get it over with instead of calling him? And I wanted to tell Charles Dolan that his lawyer for hire, Charles Former, his reason for not showing me the shareholders list is that I'm a poor person. Charles Former doesn't believe that I have enough money to communicate with the other shareholders. He says the cost of that alone is $9,000. Well, I read that all to you last week in the order to show cost. And so I wanted Charles Dolan to know that Glendora could not see the shareholders list because Glendora is a poor person. And what is Charles Dolan? It's only for rich people, you see. It's only for rich people like you, Charles Dolan. And why won't you let me see and copy the shareholders list? What's your reason, Mr. Dolan? That was a question I had to ask. And what have you done wrong? And then I wanted to be sure and pick it, and I did. I picked it. But I've got to find out what street comes into the back entrance of the building, 1111 Stewart Avenue, where all the runways are, where they used to make the F-15 fighter planes. Maybe that's why they're so militaristic, huh? So I've got to find out how to picket the street where that entrance is. And they wouldn't let me see the Chat with Glendora at 9:30, 10, 10:30, and 11. And what is your reason for breaking the laws and not showing Glendora the shareholders list? What are you covering up? What have you done wrong? These are questions I wanted to ask Charles F. Dolan, but he won't answer questions. He just railroads everything through, railroads it. Why are you so, why don't you want the shareholders meetings taped? What are they doing wrong at the shareholders meeting that they don't want you subscribers to know, you the public to know, or you the stockholders to know? What are they doing wrong? So the meeting was adjourned, excuse me. See, Wednesday was the 8th day, Thursday was the 9th, Friday was the 10th, today is Saturday. This is the 11th day of this congestion. But it's much, much less. And it's not a family, it's not a public corporation at all, you see. It's a secret to society. It's a family business. And he's masquerading. And now he wants to go out and sell more stock under Rainbow to get the public's money so that he can give it to his family and continue to run his family business while snickering the whole world that this is a public corporation. Former cannot even get the name of the law correctly. It is correctly the Delaware Law of Corporations, and he keeps calling it the Delaware Corporation Law. There was another railroaded meeting, and I wanted to know if Charles F. Dolan got the mail that I sent to him. And at home, at home, you know what that refers to? Not a TV show. It refers to Charles Dolan, because that's where he is all the time. He's never at work. And they've never given me the bylaws that I requested. They've never given me a copy of the certificate of authority to operate in the state of New York, where they're making all the money and stealing it from you and asking for increases. I don't have their certificate of authority from Delaware. And have they corrected my listing? They have my listing wrong. They have it as Glendora. 110, Huntington Station, and it should be Route 110. So I don't know if they corrected that or not, because I can't see the shareholders list. They have not handled my demand for voting trusts. That's New York State Corporation Law, Business Corporation Law, Section 1316. I want to know what is the jurisdiction of their authority. Is the Wiz included in that? Is the Wiz included in that? Radio City Music Hall, Madison Square Garden, etc. That's Section 1304. And I want to know what the litigation costs have been at Cablevision for the past year. What money have they paid lawyers to cover up their cheats? And why are you afraid to let Glendora see the shareholders list, the books and records? And the documents that I asked for, the proposal for the Rainbow tracking stock, it says that all the documents that this proposal this proposal is based upon are available by calling 516-803-2300, and I called and I get a bunch of, always, as you always do, Cablevision advertising and promotion. But there aren't any really legal papers except the annual report. And we already have that. And there's a quarterly report there. And there's a picture of Charles Dolan and James Dolan that I have to show you. I have to show it on TV. Here is this, see, this is not a notice of shareholders, folks. This is the clipping that came from the New York Times that Charles Forman showed Franklin when we were expecting to go to the December 8th meeting, and he was trying to discourage us from going. But you see, there's no information there. Fortunately, the New York Times had sense enough not to print all of their promotional material.
White Plains,
Uh,
New York, 106.
This is a note to Charles Dolan. Glendora will need a table at the meeting December 8th. She has so many papers opposing the rainbow tracking stock, they will all fall off of her lap. It would be nice to give a shareholder a table on the stage. Here is the illegal paper, which I'm going to rescind. I'm going to withdraw this. This is the illegal paper that Charles Former coerced Glendora. So I'm going to rescind that, I think. After I finish reporting to you, you come first. I am going to read the fat book on the rainbow stocking track proposal. I'll read the page that I was supposed to read for Thursday, Thursday, Friday, and today, Saturday. And then I'll write a paper to the court, and then I'll read that to you. See, it's the Delaware law of corporations, and Forman can never get that straight. Karen says, I like that. Well, that's what this program is about, and also crooked corporate people like Texaco and Cablevision and Gannett. So these are the questions that I had to ask, and I wanted the answers to, but I was censored. That's Omar. Thank you, Omar, for doing what you do for public access producers. Okay. Let me look at my notes on here and see if there's anything else to tell you, but I think we're finished. Former would not let me take my file box to the meeting. That was censorship. Former would not let me take my husband to the meeting, so that was censorship. I think we've covered that page. Yes. We're all up to date on this. I'm making these notes on the back of the Delaware law. And remember, Charles Former and, well, he really doesn't count, but Charles Dolan and James Dolan are above the law. You have to obey the law, but they don't. Okay, they're above the law because they're rich. This is Rusty. So that's the story of Rusty, who walked 3.7 miles from Westchester to the Bronx. He didn't find his people home, so he went back to his old people. Okay. So I'll do the reading and put the file in order and write the paper to the court and report to you. It's 3:55 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. Temperature 30 degrees, and we had our first snowstorm. It was a little tiny one. All right, folks, here are some jot thoughts about the Dolan's conduct and behavior, their crookedness and their cheating, and their lying and their stealing. This is Charles Foreman, including Robert Astorita and Charles F. Dolan. And why isn't James Dolan at that meeting, and why aren't there any directors at that meeting? So here are some jot thoughts about that. Jot thought. I was ambushed.